to Good Morning Football. Scott Pioli, welcome to GMFB.
Good morning, Peter. Good morning to the entire crew. How is everyone today?
Hey, Scott. Great.
Awesome.
We're doing awesome. First, we've got all those photos of you from that 1994 season when you were a pro personnel assistant for the Cleveland Browns. You're looking
Look at that. Barrel chested. Look at the hair, man.
I need that
Look at the hair.
You look jacked.
Yeah.
You look great.
His hair.
Tell us what. Oh my gosh. Scott, tell us what that win over the Steelers means to the organization in that city, because you were there in the 90s. We know what happened in the 2000s, the 2010s. We're now in 2021, and there he is in the media guide.
This is great, Trey.
Scott Pioli from Washingtonville, New York. Tell us, straight out of Central Connecticut State, what did you think Sunday night meant for the Browns organization?
Well, it meant a ton to the organization. I spoke to a couple people, and it was interesting. They were excited, they were happy, but they were also measured. But for the city's unhinged. I mean, this is, it's interesting. Usually your first job, you get some sort of emotional attachment to a city. And I do have that with Cleveland. And talk to a lot of friends, and they are unhinged. They're over the moon because they don't feel like this is something that they think it's something that's going to last, because they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, and it's really important to them to not only win but to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I'm so happy for the city. This is something that has been long coming, and here's the difference, though. They are a good football team. In the past, they're always waiting for the other shoe to drop. This is a different Cleveland Browns team, I really think. And I really think that they're going to... Too much focus this past week has been on the Pittsburgh Steelers and how poorly they played in this game. But to me, this was all about the Browns and how well they played. Mike, Rob, I heard you talking earlier about the rushing attack. They have a real rushing attack. They have a mature quarterback that's getting more and more mature. So this is a real football team that I think has a chance to possibly make some more waves this weekend.
And Jarvis Landry stepped up as well through the passing game, which is what it's going to take up against a offense that can score a lot on the other side in Kansas City. Scott, I did a lot of research this week going into the depths of teams facing each other 3 times in a year, what it means, how it turns out, and that's what we have ahead of us here with the Bucs and the Saints. They face each other for the 3rd time this season. So in terms of game preparation, and from your vantage point, how much of an advantage is it to be so familiar with your opponent like these 2 divisional rivals are? And I say so familiar, I say they've played each other twice. New quarterback, new situation, so they don't have like years of familiarity between them.
Yeah, Kay, there's, for all the years, over 25 games, playoff games that I was able to be a part of, but all those years in the playoffs, it was only one time, and it was that 94 Browns team where we had to face the Pittsburgh Steelers 3 times. Unfortunately, we lost all 3 times in that 94 season. Here's the key is, usually, obviously, when you're playing a team for the 3rd time, they're in your division. So you know the team well. You know their coaching staff well. What this allows you to do is spend more time on the scheme and the preparation and getting to know more what the coaching staff is going to do. Because the familiarity of the personnel is really what helps you save time in preparation that week. It's not like you're going to a new team that you haven't seen all year and you're not sure what their special teams personnel are going to do, or what their 4th receiver is, or what their 5th or 6th defensive back is. So you have a lot of personnel familiarity, and that makes the preparation, I won't say easier, but certainly takes less time away from wondering and worrying about the individual personnel.
Hey, Scott, last weekend we saw the Rams defense, who I think is a championship defense, just shut down the Seahawks offense. Next up is Aaron Rodgers, potential MVP this year. Do you think the Rams defense are capable of stopping that Green Bay Packers offense like they did Russell Wilson?
They are capable, but Mike, Rob, I think it comes down to 2 primary things. They need to get to Aaron Rodgers. I know that sounds simple. And they need to not let the Packers establish a running game. Those are 2 things that the Rams defense can definitely do. Now, getting to Aaron Rodgers is going to be a big problem, because he's only been sacked 20 times this year, the 2nd fewest number of sacks allowed in the NFL. But they have the manpower, they have the scheme, they have the talent to get them. They have the coverage that can, hold on to the receivers and keep Aaron Donald getting upfield and give them a chance. Now, The other thing is, again, that they cannot let the Green Bay Packers establish the running game. The best thing that Aaron Rodgers does is break the pocket and play action pass. So if the Packers establish the running game, it could be a problem for the Rams because off the running game comes the play action pass. But again, this is the best defense, I think, in the NFL right now, and they have a chance to slow down Aaron Rodgers if anyone does.
Scott, we remember a time when winning a Super Bowl as a head coach maybe didn't give you a lifetime pass, but it gave you a really long leash. It feels like Doug Peterson was on a parade float in Philadelphia 20 minutes ago, and they just let him go. What was your reaction to hearing the news?
Yeah, I was surprised, quite honestly. This is obviously, it's not unprecedented, but it's certainly an anomaly. The last time something like this happened was way back in the early 1970s when the Baltimore Colts fired